Okay, today I'm going to talk about Manfred von Richthofen. History would remember him by a different name, the Red Baron. This is him. He was born in Germany in the state of in Breslau in the German state of Prussia, 1892. Obviously, I need to get a better copy of that book. He started the World War I as a cavalry officer, which World War I was the first war to have tanks, machine guns, poison gas, things of that sort. So, with new tactics, he was put on supply duty, which he did not like. So he wrote a letter to the Kaiser saying, "Hey, I did not join the service to collect cheese and eggs. I want combat." And that's what he got. He was transferred to the Air Service in 1915, and he had a couple victories as an observer, or unconfirmed victories as an observer. Victories couldn't be confirmed, but they nearly shot him down nonetheless, so I don't know why they didn't bother awarding him the victory. Anyways, in 1916, he had an encounter with the top ace at the time, Oswald Bulka. I'll find a picture of him here for you to see. But, there he is. Oswald Bulka. He, sorry, phone thing. He wrote down a set of rules known as the Bulka Dicta. A set of rules for pilots to follow while in combat. He chose Manfred von Richthofen as one of his squadron pilots. Manfred von Richthofen had repeatedly failed his pilot's exam, but as any historian will tell you, myself included, it didn't matter. So he made his first victories in an Albatross D2 Sesquiplane. It's blocked, but you can see a little bit of it behind me. There's a metal thing I have on the wall. It's painted like his Albatross that he had, or his Albatross D3 anyway. He scored victory after victory in the fall of 1916, but on October 28th of that year, Oswald Bulka, they collided, well, not really collided, but the planes nearly touched each other with one of his own men, and he fell to his death. Manfred carried his medals at the funeral. Oswald Bulka was buried with full military honor. A couple weeks after Manfred von Richthofen had a dogfight with a British. He was described as the British Bulka. His name's Major Lionel Hawker. Major Lionel Hawker was flying obsolete de Havilland DH-2. It's a rotary engine pusher where the engine was in the back of the plane, and it's a rather rickety plane, but flying every which way, Richthofen soon discovered that it's not the box, it's the man who flies the box. Long story short, he managed to down Major Lenelhacker just 50 yards from the Allied lines. His guns jammed at first, but he was able to clear the jam, and that was his 11th and probably one of his most famous victories, Major Lenelhacker. After his 16th victory, he was awarded the Pour le Mérite, which is the blue match, the highest honor that Germany gives out. The original tally to get the award was 8 planes, but they moved the goalposts. That's why he kept trying to get those victories he wanted it. He wanted that award. And everybody wanted that award, but him especially. And he was then transferred to a squadron named Jasta 11, who between them had only one unconfirmed victory. They had not shot down anything. He straightened them out real quick. And they then got the Albatross D3, next generation of the Albatross biplane. He decided to paint his plane bright red as an invitation to his enemies to try and shoot him out of the sky. Many tried, and they were all sent down. April 1917 was the pinnacle of his flying career. He had 21 confirmed victories. Among the highlights was April 29th, 1917. He shot down 4 confirmed planes in one day. And the last one being the brand new, at the time, Sopwith triplane. As they met in the skies, the pilot in the triplane made the mistake of diving down, which you do not want to do. Whoever is up here can choose when to attack down here. I'll use this Sopwith Camel and this Fokker triplane as an example. So whoever's up here can choose when to come meet the pilot down here. And the man in the Sopwith triplane zigzagging over the place, and Richthofen's flying Albatross. He's flying straight. As a result, he gains speed and gets up behind close enough to the triplane to hear the hiss from the fuel tank as the bullets hit it. And that was victory number 52. He then went on leave for a few weeks. Not something he was thrilled about. He was never thrilled about playing the hero. He more or less wanted to be in his plane, and that's what he preferred. And he also had a brother that joined him around, also in the spring of 1917, named Lothar von Richthofen. Right here. That's his brother Lothar von Richthofen. Now, between the two brothers, they shot down 120 Allied planes, 120 confirmed victories. 80 for Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, and 40 for Lothar. And June of 1917, Richthofen was given 3 more squadrons in what became the world's first fighter wing, Jagdgeschwader number 1, or Richthofen's Fighter Wing 1. which was roughly about, I'd say, maybe 40 to 60 to 80 planes, somewhere in that range. And he had the best pilots that the German Empire had to offer at that time. Werner Voss, who went on to down 48 planes, not counting unconfirmed victories. There were always unconfirmed victories. Erich Lowenhart had 53 confirmed victories. Lieutenant Ernst Udet had 62 confirmed victories. Wilhelm Reinhardt had 20, and so on and so forth. The Jagerschwader, in just a little over a year in the war, they confirmed 644 victories. That's quite a bit. And when you tally up all the unconfirmed victories, I mean, who knows what the actual number is. In July of 1917, he sustained a head wound. He was flying behind I think it was an FE-2B two-seater, firing way out of range, so he didn't think he would get hit, but an unlucky bullet struck him in the side of the head. And it's just one of those freak things that happen. Even though he so spent time recovering and came back to fly his 4 more victories, he wasn't the same after that. Something changed in him after that. And he had dizzy spells and headaches. And Lothar went down a couple of different times. Crashed his triplane. Crashed a couple of triplanes actually. I think he crashed in his Albatross once too. In September of 1917, he got what was him and the squadron are most famous for. That plane. This is it. This is of course a die-cast model of it. This is a Fokker DR-1 triplane. It was armed with 2 7.92 millimeter span-down machine guns. And the Red Baron liked to fire both of his simultaneously, whereas many other pilots only would fire one at a time, but he liked both of his firing, which is probably why he had so many victories. I mean, he was such a lethal shot that you did not want to get behind him, or in front of him, I mean, behind him. But, yeah, if you flew behind you is what I meant. That was it. You would fly out of the sun, and you cannot see a red plane rocketing out of the sun until it's too late. And he scored more victories, and March of 1918, Germany made what was their last push in World War I. Even though it was all for naught, it still more or less did what it was supposed to do. I mean, they really did a pushback down there. I mean, Germany had pretty much every pilot that they had at that time was flying. So the German Air Force really did the job in the early spring of 1918. And the Red Baron himself regained his old form. In April of 1918, April 20th, he scored his 79th and 80th confirmed victories, downing 2 soft-lift camels within just a few minutes of each other. Shot down, there's some conflicting reports, but I've heard 7, I've heard 9, but at the very least 7 of his confirmed victories were soft-lift camels. So as inefficient as the soft-lift camel was, when you meet an adversary like the Red Baron in the air, it really doesn't matter. April 21st, 1918. It was the day he died, and the mystery began. The basic facts. Around 10:45 a.m., of course, their time over there. I don't know what time it would have been here in America, but around 10:45 a.m., a dogfight erupted over German territory. You had the Red Baron's famous flying circus, and you had the Allied group, the Southwest Camels, two groups of Southwest Camels, and they began dogfighting. That's what they call the air duels, because it looks like 2 dogs chasing each other's tails around. So, a new pilot for the Allies was Lieutenant Wilfred Whoop May. Fired a shot at a triplane that passed in front of him, thought to be the Red Baron's cousin, Wolfram von Richthofen, who was also a new pilot. The Red Baron had the eyes of an eagle, so he quickly spotted the danger and began to chase Wilfred Whoop May. And he chased him deep into Allied territory, and because the wind shifted, it carried him over the Allied lines a lot quicker than he thought, which, most of the air duels were over German-held territory, for the most part. So he chased him, they nearly missed the church belfry, and at some point, Captain Roy Brown came and let off the short little burst of fire. But the one thing that's been proven is all of his bullets missed. He had stayed with him, then there would have been no doubt that he shot the Red Baron down, but this is not the case. The Red Baron was taking ground fire from every which way, but only 1 bullet hit him. 1. And it was a single shot through the chest. Good. Let's find anything I'm looking for here. I'll use this. It was a single shot through the chest. When a body's hit, there's an effect called hydrostatic shock. The closer the range, the greater the wound damage. And because the bullet tumbled, it pierces everything within 3 or 4 inches is devastated. Passed through the liver, through the heart, through the lungs, and exited just below the left nipple. The fact that the bullet was still found in his flight jacket gave the indication it was a long-range shot, at least 600 yards plus, which would have come from the ground. Now, this is called Death of the Red Baron. It analyzes who might have shot him down using a forensic specialist, a sharpshooter, historian, and even a flight simulator. And I think my personal opinion is the one that this one says shot the Red Baron down. I think is the most likely scenario. Is I'm not gonna tell you everything, but one thing is that this other documentary called "Who Killed the Red Baron" seems to ignore is that Sergeant Cedric Popkin wrote a letter in the 30s describing what had happened, and he attached a map and where he had fired on the Red Baron from, which was from his front, not the right side where the bullet went in. So he eliminated himself from the running. But the other documentaries seem to ignore that fact, even though he gave the testimony himself. And another one that was credited with shooting him down was Robert Buey, which, again, it's possible. But in reality, I mean, I don't think they're ever going to know who fired the fatal shot. Because they all, both the Allied planes and the machine guns on the ground all shot the same bullet, which was a single, which were 303 rifle rounds. And all we know, it could have been a plane that was far enough away, up in the air, to just happen to have a lucky shot, and that's all it was a lucky shot. But as such the case with somebody like that, his legend has only grown in the years since his death. The first movie that was made about him was called Richthofen. It was made in 1932. It has yet to surface. I have not seen it. I don't really know too much about it. And, I'll watch it if it ever gets released on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, but I doubt it at this point. He was also a character in movies like Howard Hughes' Hell's Angels, which him and his flying circus, and you really can't have a World War I airplane movie without him, really. He's probably the most notorious aviator of all time, even bigger than the Wright brothers. I mean, he's got a pizza named after him. There's a lot of other things with the Red Baron name. Up until like 2008, 2009, there was a minor league baseball team called the Red Barons, which in their logo had the biplane. So he's got a larger-than-life image that no one can take away, and it's a shame to see that his own country, Germany, is blocking videos of him, even the ones with Snoopy in them, on YouTube. That's not right, in my opinion, but it is what it is, I guess. The song Snoopy versus the Red Baron was released in 1966, and 1966 also featured a couple of follow-ups. The Return of the Red Baron, and Snoopy's Christmas. And there was also Snoopy for President, which Snoopy needed one vote to win, and more or less guess who voted for him. Here, I'll play Snoopy versus the Red Baron for you. See if I can find it here. What do you think of that? That's the Snoopy's Christmas, which was the third one that they did. It was based on the actual Christmas truce during World War I, where in 1914, along the lines, both the Germans and the British stopped fighting, where they also cleaned the trenches, exchanged gifts, and even engaged in friendly games of soccer, which they call football. And they showed each other pictures of their loved ones and whatnot. So for a couple of days, it's like, I mean, maybe not all along the lines, but on a lot of parts of the Western Front, the fighting stopped. And you can learn more about the Christmas truce. It's actually really interesting. And at this day and age, I doubt anything like that would ever happen again. But, it's definitely interesting that happened, because World War I was really the last war to be fought with any sense of honor, any sense of chivalry. Let's see if I can find that other song here. Now, this is a movie about the Red Baron called Von Richthofen and Brown. It came out in 1971. It stars John Philip Law as the Red Baron, and Don Stroud as Captain Roy Brown. And the interesting thing about this is that they actually train the lead actors to take off and fly basic stunts in those planes. They give an element of realism to it, and so what you see in this is not the CGI that you would see in something like Flyboys. Flyboys is a good movie, but you know it's like a lot of CGI stuff in it. But in Von Richthofen and Brown, well, not historically accurate, in which what biography is really. I mean, that's why they're movies. They're not meant to be, like a history lesson or well-researched documentary or whatever. But doing filming, they lost one of the stunt pilots when the SC-5 spun out of control and crashed, and they were filming a scene with Don Stroud, and they crashed into the water, pond or river or something, and because Don Stroud was a surfer, he was able to get Lynn Garrison out, because Lynn Garrison was knocked unconscious. He was able to pull him out of the water. Don Stroud was unhurt, but Lynn Garrison needed, I think it was 60 stitches to close a head wound. So it's gutsy stuff. I mean, well, I can't really say they don't make movies like that anymore, but they definitely don't make movies like they used to. That's why it's of all the flying ones I've seen, the World War One airplanes. That's my favorite one. It's Von Richthofen and Brown. And the last one is this one, simply called the Red Baron. I cannot pronounce the guy's name who plays the Red Baron, but Lena Headey plays his love interest in it. I don't really know whether they use CGI or actual flying in it. It is a good movie, which again, it's not, historically accurate. I mean, it's more accurate than Von Richthofen and Brown was in some respects, but it's in English. It was filmed in Germany though, but it wasn't filmed in German and dubbed in English. It was filmed in English, but it didn't really do well at the box office, probably because it wasn't released in theaters over here in America, which probably wasn't the best choice, because a movie like that would have done well, but nevertheless, it didn't get released over here until it got released on DVD and Blu-ray 2 years out after it was theatrically released in 2008 over in Germany. Now there's two versions of this movie. There's the one that you can get on video, and there's the other one that I don't know, maybe a way to get that imported. The full unedited version, which, I mean, this version is actually better in my opinion. But, the full unedited version wasn't supposed to leave Germany. I did notice that somebody uploaded it on YouTube, so you can watch it here on YouTube if you choose to. I mean, nevertheless, it's a good movie. And then one of the highlights of the night flying scene, where they get attacked by the Allies at night. So he decides to take the squadron up to counterattack, which is something he probably would have done. I mean, nothing could really get this guy down. I mean, if you read his autobiography, he has an autobiography that he wrote. It was published in 1917 when it was first published, and he's like they gave us a lot of fun. We shot down 3 of them from sitting on the ground. I hope they come back next month because they gave us a lot of fun. And this is the kind of guy that the Red Baron was. He had a good sense of humor, and there was supposedly an anti-Richthofen squadron that went around with the sole purpose of shooting him down. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I know there was I think it was with a group of STAD S7s in 1917. They tried to get him, and it didn't work out so well for them. As far as I know, either most of them, if not all of them, were shot down by him and his squadron when they tried to encounter them. So, well, they talked the talk, but obviously they couldn't walk the walk. I guess the old saying that goes along with that. So, his squadron mate, Werner Voss, was involved in a dogfight in September, I think it was the 23rd of 1917, and he was flying a silver gray Fokker triplane, and he decided to take on 6 SE-5As at one time. He put bullets in all of them, and he fought them for about 10 minutes. He never was able to take one of them fully out, and he was flying every which way. And finally, Arthur Raymond Brooks, I think his name is, got up behind him and emptied his machine gun into him and shot Werner Voss out of the sky. I've heard that Voss, before that, destroyed 2 planes, which would have brought his total to 50, so I don't really understand why he was not credited with destroying those planes, because that's what the victory was for. You got the victory for destroying the plane. It didn't really matter if you destroyed the person in it, but if you destroyed the plane, that's what they counted as the victory. Nonetheless, he was only 20 when he died, and the Red Baron was only 2 weeks shy of his 26th birthday when he died. So, but the average age for a pilot back then was 23. They're portrayed in many movies like, say, the Blue Max and stuff like that as like balding men in their 40s and 50s, and that just was not the case. There wasn't anybody that old flying those planes. You had these young guys, and life expectancy of a new pilot was a matter of weeks. And one mistake could cost you your life. I mean, some of these planes, if you didn't know what you were doing, you couldn't get it off the ground. The Sopwith Camel was the lethal Allied plane of World War I, but it was not easy to fly. A lot of pilots got killed trying to, because they couldn't get it off the ground. They couldn't take off with it. It was such a devil to fly. The SE-5A, however, was faster, more maneuverable, and it was easier to fly. The same can be said for the Fokker D7 biplane, which came out a few weeks after the Red Baron was shot down. He actually was the chief test pilot in that. and with the final modifications, he endorsed it wholeheartedly. And another weird thing about the Focus G7 is if you look up online, I've seen this picture of a man that looks very much like him standing in front of one. But the thing about it is that the plane didn't enter service until after he died. Yet there's somebody that looks very much like him standing in front of one. Definitely interesting. Another interesting thing is that he was supposed to go on leave the day after he was shot down. And another thing that gets me on this is, hold on, gotta find it here. This is the hardcover book called "Who Killed the Red Baron." The paperback is not as good as you might think, as I found out. I had the paperback at first, but my cat scratched it up, so I got this one off paperback swap, and it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because it's not only is it more detailed, it has more pictures and more information. So it was definitely worth it. So. Now it's somewhere in here. I don't really know where it is in here, but oh, here it is. If you look at the if you look at the picture, this is the picture of the Red Baron, and that's his father next to him. This is after he had the head wound. If you look at the structure of the Red Baron's face, and you look at, this is supposed to be him after he was shot down. The whole structure of the face is different. So that's something that I find interesting is that the corpse looks completely different from what he actually looked like. Kind of wonder if there was somebody else in that plane that day. I mean, they had, coincidentally, his papers and stuff were sewn to the inside of his jacket. Me personally, I think there's a lot more to that than what they wrote down in history, but that's open up to debate, I guess. Anyways, I will cover more on Manfred von Richthofen at a later date, and also more on his squadron and World War I in general. But I hope you enjoyed this show and learning as I go along. I'm new at this making YouTube videos, so I'm doing the best I can. I don't have the best camera or the best microphone, but as Burt Gummer and Tremors said, doing what you can with what you got. So I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you later.